My name is Marilyn Greene and I am a project curator on Hidden London, and I'm also an Aldwych guide. Okay, well, we have here a plan of Aldwych Station, and it's in a book of different plans, and it dates from about 1915, and we know that because Aldwych was only renamed Aldwych in 1915. Before that it was called the Strand, and if you walk past the station today you can still see that name, Strand, and it's one of the many stations designed by Marilyn Greene, and it opened on the 30th of November 1907. It was intended to be a much more important station than it is, and in fact the terminus of the Great Northern and Strand Railway, but due to financial problems it ended up becoming part of the Piccadilly line and a little branch line from Holborn. So the map here, we do guided tours of the station, so I wanted to give you a sort of virtual tour of it. So coming from the Strand, we would enter through this orange area and see the original booking hall and the original ladies' toilets. And also within this area are the only surviving original Otis lifts from 1906-7. But more interesting is once we descend the 163 stairs down to the lift level. And as we are confronted somewhat strangely by 3 lift shafts, although only ever one here was ever put in place. And this is because they expected far more traffic in 1905 to when it was completed in 1907. And these were dug by hand. We follow on to platform 1, which was in continuous use until the 30th of September 1994, when due to only about 450 people using the station a day and the cost of upgrading the lifts, the station was closed. Today we recognise it for being used in film shots such as in Atonement or Sherlock or Mr. Selfridge even. But in the past it had a much more interesting history. It was used by shelterers in the First World War from Zeppelin raids in 1917, and much more extensively from 1940 during the London Blitz, where they put 3-tier bunks and there were about 300 people sheltering here a night at one stage. It's also one of the shortest platforms on the underground network, and even in 1907 they didn't bother finish tiling the whole section of it. Now if we cross over to platform 2, not many people know there's a platform 2, and that's because it actually stopped being used in 1917. They already realised there was no point continuing using that, and they could just create a shuttle service from Holborn. And this was used for storing paintings from the National Gallery in the First World War, and extensively used by many different museums in the Second World War. The V&A, the British Museum stored the Elgin marbles here, and Buckingham Palace stored its tea set here, and these were guarded by 2 armed guards. Now, today it's used for mocking up different stations, and you can see elements of different station mock-ups, and you can still see some original lettering from Strand here, and the original flat track bed, which is plush to the ground because it was before they ever had suicide pits. If we retrace our steps back to the lift shafts, we can see there are some white tunnels here. And these are very interesting because they were never used. They were dug by hand in 1905 and never finished off. They would have been the circular route from the platform 1 and platform 2 and to the back of the lift tunnels.